Talk Nation, welcome back, everybody. This video, man, it's gonna be a sad one, man, for me personally. Yesterday, we witnessed one of the greatest fighters, perhaps the greatest fighter of all time, possibly fight his last fight, and it wasn't his best fight. Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao started fighting, went through tremendous adversity, and you know what? He fought his way to the top. Me personally, I will say champions are made, but true fighters are born. And Manny Pacquiao was born into this world to not only be a fighter, but to really show people the fighting spirit that one must have in order to succeed and survive in life. He has been an inspiration to me personally, as a fight fan, as a man. He has been an inspiration to his people, to countless others across the world, not only the world of boxing, but just the world in general. And that is what true icons, that is what true extraordinary people do. They surpass whatever genre they might be in, whether it's sports, music, boxing, entertainment. Their talent transcends wherever they may come from, period. So how you view Manny Pacquiao, his legacy, his performance, what he has done for the sport of boxing, what he has done for his countrymen, what he has done for all the lives and people that he has touched in the world, that truly depends on you. But I can surely tell you one thing. The game in the sport of boxing shall possibly lose one of not only the greatest talents, but one of the greatest hearts and spirits that boxing has ever seen and has ever known. To watch the fight between Pacquiao and Ugas, to watch Manny Pacquiao not perform as he used to perform, a lot of people automatically thought, you know what? He's washed up, he's done. But watching Pacquiao train for Errol Spence, watching the toll that he put on his body and that he allowed Justin Fortune, Roach, everybody to put on his body. That's how bad he wanted that fight. That's how bad Manny Pacquiao wanted to fight, period. Because people counted him out because he was 42 years of age. And looking at the state of boxing, let alone the welterweight division, it's kind of sad that Manny Pacquiao felt as though he still had to fight. Because there will be no passing of the torch. Because there was no other fighter like Manny Pacquiao, period. So how can you pass the torch to someone who is nothing like you? Now, if another fighter is up and coming and they possess true talent and skill to take them to the top, that's all well and good. But a lot of these fighters, most of these fighters, especially in the welterweight division at the top, they're not fighting each other. They're letting the politics, they're letting the money dictate their legacies. And that's why, in my mind, despite how many belts that you may have, you will never be a true champion. Because a true champion does not let anyone or anything depict the outcome of his legacy. That is what Manny Pacquiao is, a true champion. A belt cannot define that. A loss cannot define that. A legacy defines that. So many people and so many fighters are trying to build and pave the way of their legacy. But they're looking at people like Pacquiao, like Floyd, like Ali, Frazier. So many countless other fighters to do it. But the truth is, that's where you're falling short. Because you cannot define your legacy based upon somebody else's. You have to carve and walk your own path. That is what will define your greatness. That is what will cement you in boxing history. That is what will open the hearts and minds of countless fans and non-fans of the sport of boxing all throughout the world, if you're able to do that. Manny Pacquiao did not try to fight like anybody else. When he first came into the game, people thought that he didn't have a style that was appealing to boxing, that he couldn't box. But if he allowed those thoughts and that negativity and those demons to enter his mind, body, and spirit, we will not have an 8 division champion, a 5 lineal title champion, that is Manny Pacquiao. Despite what you go through trying to become a fighter, you never, never, never should forget the essence of what you are, and that is a fighter. Despite controversy, despite people telling you and talking about you, saying what you are and will never be, you must also and always maintain the mental of a fighter, because that's what gives people hope. If you look at the state of the world is beyond disarray. You have earthquakes, floods, famine, disease. All these things are crippling our existence as human beings right now. And one of the things that people love and why they love to watch boxing is because despite however and how hard the training camp is, fighting through injuries, fighting through heat, pressure, negativity, they still choose to get up at the crack of dawn and run. They still choose to get up at the crack of dawn and train and put their bodies through most will never know. Just like a soldier going through boot camp. When I was in the military, one of the first things that they told us is forget everything that you thought that you was when you was a civilian. Because you are no longer a civilian. You're a soldier. And one of their most principal job is to break you down. Everything that you thought that you was, their job is to get that out of you, especially out of your mind. Because it's easy to build the body up, but it's hard to strengthen one's mind. That takes something special. But more or less, that takes you. That takes you. People may tell you and try to give you the tools to be a better person. But if you don't want to be a better person, you shall never be. It's the same as a fighter. I can train you to be a great fighter, but true greatness lies in you. As I said, you have to want to get up. You have to want to torture yourself. And people looking at you like, why? Like if you see when they show Errol Spence when he was training, they showed the temperature gauge in the gym. And it was 110 degrees. And people are like, what the? Like when I was in Mississippi and I was training, every day was called what you call Black Flag Day because the temperatures was like 120 degrees, no cap. And we had to be out there in BDUs, that's battle dress uniforms, combat boots, and we out there training, we out there working, we out there building. And eventually, you don't think about the temperature, you don't think about how hot it is. You just think about what's in front of you. And for a fighter, you forget about everything once you step into that ring because you only think about what's in front of you. And that is your opponent. That's all that matters. Manny Pacquiao stepped into the ring and faced countless opponents. Countless opponents. And he also faced countless opponents outside of the ring that many will never know. But despite through everything, he still chose not to be bitter, but to always remain humble, always remain steadfast as far as what you want to be. And that is just a good person. Because a good person has the potential to be a great person. A good fighter has the potential to become a great fighter. And a great fighter has the potential to become a legend. Manny Pacquiao has been immortalized in millions of people's hearts and their minds forever because of what he contributed out of the ring. Out of the ring. We all know what he did inside the ring that made him great. But what made Manny Pacquiao immortal is the things that he did outside of the ring. Even walking on that podium and saying that, you know what, I thank everybody for coming out because you did so in the middle of a global pandemic with COVID-19 and the Delta virus. It's killing hundreds of thousands of people, thousands of people daily, even in his country. As he said, out of my own pocket, he walks the streets and he puts money in people's hands. In a society where that's all people is measured by is their monetization. How much money do you got? You weren't about what's in somebody else's pockets. That's why you will never have anything in yours. You have to be the captain of your own ship. Don't watch somebody else's pockets. Don't gauge your life and shortcomings on somebody else's. That's what too many of us do. Manny Pacquiao always tried to be the best role model because he understood it's more than me. Fans look at me not only to give them a great show and put on a great performance, but fans across the world, and especially in my country, look at me because I bring them hope. And in these days and times, that same energy and passion is needed, because that same energy and passion is going to save lives. So if Manny Pacquiao walks away from the sport of boxing, not only will he forever be mentioned and missed, but he will have a legacy that will forever be unbroken. It doesn't matter how many times he lost. It doesn't matter. And truthfully, it doesn't matter how many times you win. Because at times, even in victory, we suffer defeat. Even in defeat, we raise our hands in victory. It's all about mindset. It's all about where you at here and in here. So salute to your Dennis Ugas with an incredible story of his own, being away from his family in Cuba for 8 years, trying to solidify and generate a career in boxing to pave the way for them to come from those depraved states to come to America where they can have a future. Salute to him. These are the type of fighters that I like, because that type of substance, it can't be bought. It can't be manufactured or recreated. It can't. So many fighters are quote unquote built up. They generate an image for these guys. Hell, shit, they generate careers for them. They put bums in front of them and let them beat up on them, you know what I mean? So they can just stack up the wins. Nobody is truly facing everybody anymore. They're not. They may have a fight or two, have a good fight or two, then throw a couple of cherries in there. Have a good fight, throw a couple of cherries in there. Nobody is taking on all comers. That age of boxing is dead. Shall it be resurrected? Who knows? But it's going to take special talent, and it's going to take more than just one fighter to re-energize and revitalize the sport of boxing. Some fighters do have promise. They truly do. And I hope for their sake, they are willing to be those throwback fighters and put it all on the line. It doesn't matter. You could just get the belt today, and tomorrow you're trying to set up a fight with the next most dangerous person in the division. You're not trying to pad your next 5 or 6 fights just so you can hold on to the belt for 6 months or for a year. No. Because at the end of the day, remember, a belt, it means nothing. Somebody gave it to you. Somebody had to make it. But what it took for you to earn that belt and win that belt, that came from you. Nobody could ever take that away from you. Mike Tyson said it himself in an interview when he was interviewed, and he took him into a room and on a table filled with belts. And he said, man, this shit is trash. It means nothing. And they look like what? Everything that you had to do to go through that. He said, my children. That's what means something. That's what means everything. You have to have the correct perspective in life, let alone boxing. You have to understand what really matters. And for Manny Pacquiao, being a true champion, that's not what truly mattered. Being a good human being, that is what matters. That is what he wanted his legacy to be. So to Manny Pacquiao, I thank you personally for a great career, but more importantly, I thank you for showing me what a great man is supposed to be, because that's all we can do as men and as competitors is just try to be great. Try to tap into who we are and what we know we can become. Talk Nation, stand up. It's your boy. Blessings, man. Peace.